Hey beauties, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's video, I'm creating an elevated makeup look. So if you want to take your makeup look to the next level, keep on watching. First things first, let's put the hair out of the way. And I've done my skincare already. I try and keep things quite minimal, and I do evening with tretinoid treatment. So now I'm going to go and apply my primer. This is from Guerlain's the Parure Gold Skin Double Veil, and it has SPF 50 protection in it, which I really like. I already have my sunscreen, but too much protection is not going to hurt. I really like how this product feels on my skin. It's super hydrating, it's blurring, it's a silicone base, so you do have to be mindful of the foundation you're going to be using on top of it so it doesn't peel. But I'm using the Guerlain Gold Parure Skin as well for today, so it should be all fine. See how it just blurs and makes your skin feels really hydrated, and it kind of gives it adds a nice layer on top. It really preps your skin nicely. I always like to leave my primer fully dry, fully absorbed into my skin before I go in with my foundation. This is the Parure Gold Skin Matte. I do like a matte complexion, but something that still has luminosity. I like matte but not flat and dull, and this has a medium to a full coverage. So I don't apply the foundation directly onto my skin. I apply it on the back of my hand, and with my buffer brush, this is from Victoria Beckham. This is the brush number 12. I'm gonna saturate the brush and then just apply the foundation. I have a dry patch here, so I hope it's gonna cover it and stay in place and not turn too patchy. So I use about 3 pumps to do all of my face, and I usually stretch it a little bit down the neck just to be sure there is no line. How radiant it is. Matte, it sets completely, but you will keep a nice radiance. I'm going to apply my concealer. I've got 2 for today. I've got the Terracotta Concealer. This is shade 2.2 neutral. I like to layer my concealer. I feel like the Guerlain Terracotta has a really nice coverage, and it gives you that nice powdery feel. Ah, baby girl. I've got baby girl with. While I leave the concealer to dry and set a little bit, I usually take a contour stick. So this is the Dior Forever. So I'm just gonna contour my nose. Just like this. I'm gonna blend it out. This plays the concealer. Got my concealer brush. This is from Sephora, and it's a really good concealer brush, I have to admit. I like the angle in it, and it's quite dense, so it does place the concealer really nicely into my skin. Same thing on this side. You want everything to be blended into each other, so you gotta take a little bit more time. It's not necessarily more makeup, I think it's in the application. I want something that is very fluid. As my second concealer, the Hourglass Vanish concealer, and this one of the new shade, it's Willow. It's got a really nice tone to it, and I'm gonna place it a little bit lower. I just want to add brightness in the corner of my eyes. I'm using the exact same brush, placing it a little bit lower to have brightness here in the corner, just like that. Now we want to sculpt the face a little bit, not too heavy on the contour, but you want to sculpt a little. And I really like the Dior contour stick because they are creamy. I'm going to use my same brush as I did for my foundation. And I'm really just brushing upwards. And sometimes you think, oh, I need some more, but actually you just want to create a little shadow. Look how already it is sculpted. You don't want to have anything too harsh. Like this. If you compare the two sides, I do already have quite a good definition because I have a very slim face. But you don't need too much. And I want to add my cream blush right too. So I'm going to use the Patrickta. This is shade She's Seductive. It's a really nice rosewood, very neutral, very flattering, super long lasting, and I absolutely love the brush. This is for face number 3. You could use face number 2 as well, that is a little bit smaller. And just like this, super easy to place, super easy to blend, and it just melts onto your skin. I really need to do something with my hair. If anyone has a good recommendation, a hairdresser in London. So that's pretty much it for complexion with the cream product. See how glowy, it's nice. It's got a medium coverage. It's still very soft. You do have a little bit of sculpting going on, but nothing too harsh. So I'm now testing the new setting spray from Iconic London. This is the Prep Set Blur Setting Spray. And I have to say, I have been very impressed with it. So you gotta give it a good shake. It doesn't have any overpowering perfume or smell in it. Now I'm going to powder my face. I like to use my Givenchy pressed powder. This is in Voile Rosé. And I use it mainly under my eyes to bring that really nice luminosity and brightness. Obviously, make sure that your concealer hasn't sit in the crease or fine lines before you powder. And I think when we look at elevating a little bit our makeup, I have nothing against a dewy foundation. It's not what I like to wear, but I think if it's too dewy and looking greasy, it's not necessarily a flattering look. I think, honestly speaking, and you don't have to agree, but I think if you're gonna go and create something a little bit more elegant, elevated, you wanna have something that is glowy, but not too dewy. Especially if you have an event or if you're going out for a long period and you're outside, and if it's warm or humid. If it's cold, I guess it's not too bad. But I think if it's cold, by definition, you're not gonna reach so much for something that is super dewy. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But I tend to think and appreciate a makeup, of elegant makeup that is a little bit more glowy, matte over something too dewy. So I like to powder my foundation, even though my foundation has completely set, it's completely dry. I do like to powder it a little bit. I use my Guerlain powder. This is the Parure Gold Skin. Basically, that whole collection at Guerlain, the Parure Gold Skin, is so nice. I just think it's a beautiful collection. If you want something that is super reliable, a little bit expensive, definitely, but so worth it. And what I do, because I don't want to have something that is too powdery, I still want to keep some of the glow. So I usually put some on a loose brush and just press it all over my face. You don't need more than this. You're just adding a little bit of powder, but you're still gonna keep, all the different shades are still there. You still have that luminosity, that little bit of a skin-like effect. And I think the less powder you add, the less chances you have for creasing or your makeup to turn cakey, even if it shouldn't. You never know, sometimes things happen. So complexion is done for now. Obviously, I need to add some blush, but I want to do my eyes first. I'm going to go and use YSL Mini Clutch. This is shade 720, and it's the name is something Dunes. I'm forgetting the name, but it's one of the new palettes. I'll make sure the name is down below in the description. I really like this. It's close to the Dior Canache, but this is a little bit more slurry in terms of how the eyeshadow feels, a little bit more creamy. It stretches a little bit more, which I really like. And I feel like it's really giving you that elegant, effortless look. When you go for shades that are quite earthy, quite neutral shade, it doesn't matter what skin tone you have or skin color. The minute you go for something that is Well, I guess if you have a super dark skin, you're gonna have to have something that is a little bit more bright or dark, but it's still elevating your look massively. So I'm gonna go all over it with this shade, kind of your beige, grayish base. And as I am doing this, I have a question for any of you that is a mom. I have a mom question. So Willow is just over 15 months now, and I am planning, well, I have to go back to work full time because life in the UK is extremely expensive. If you live in the UK, you know what I mean. So my husband and I have decided I was gonna go back to work full time just for a few more years. I am lucky enough to be working from home. So what do I do with the child? As I said, she is just over 15 months. She still has 2 naps a day, and she is not walking yet. She's very close, like she's walking by holding on to everything, but she's not walking by herself. So I reckon, you know, a few more weeks. Not that it is necessarily important to my daycare, creche, nursery dilemma, whatever you want to call it. What are you guys doing? Like, if you've had kids or you're having kids right now that are roughly the same age, what's your, I know it's a very personal decision, and it's, you know, it's a financial decision, and everyone has a different setup. I'm very hesitant to send her to nursery. I just feel like she's still very young. She obviously, I do understand her because she's my child and I'm good at guessing and I know what she wants pretty much. I'm gonna say 95% of the time. She's got a really good appetite, she sleeps really well, but she is a toddler, so she doesn't really sit still for more than 5 minutes. I just don't know what to do. And like, I've heard so many horror stories here in the UK with daycares, like horror stories. So I'm a bit reluctant, maybe for irrational reasons. And also I think when you're a mom, you want to have a break, but you also want to have your child with you 24/7. It's that weird conundrum of, I don't know, do I put her to the daycare or not? It's bloody expensive for what they're doing. I would really appreciate any of your advice, experience. What are you guys doing? How is it in the US? I know in the US it's also very expensive. Life is very expensive. Just to give birth in the US, it's crazy expensive. I just don't know what to do. Or do I just get a babysitter at home and like get her to do the mornings, and because in the afternoon she naps anyway, and then the day's almost finished. But you guys rest assured, even if I'm going back to work full time, I'll still be here on YouTube doing makeup reviews because this is what I want to keep doing going forward. I want to build a business out of it, even if it's just, I'm not sure what's the business model I want to go to. So that's another thing that I need to kind of sit down and think about. But I think I'd love to give makeup classes to small groups or maybe online. I don't want to go back to doing makeup as a makeup artist because it's really, it's a tough world. It's time consuming and it's the weekends. I just think my life has taken me to a different place, but I will still be here and figuring out what's the next move. So now I'm going to use the darker shade here in the palette and come just in the crease. And you don't want to add too much. You really just want to add a little bit of a shadow. And you're just adding depth into your makeup look. So see here, you kind of have a line, which is totally normal, but we don't want this. So you're going to take a clean, fluffy brush. It's a crease brush, but a very loose and fluffy one. Clean, if I've not said it. And you're really coming just to clean the edge. So you're not gonna have a harsh line, but rather a diffuse look. And you want to keep a little gap here on the bone, just under your eyebrow, to keep some of that contrast. I do have eyes that are a little bit, I'm not gonna say super deeply set, but I do have naturally a crease that is quite deep. So I don't need to add a lot, but if you have hooded eyes or if you have literally no crease, you're gonna have to come quite high with your dark shade to create the illusion of the crease and having something that is a little bit deeper. Now, as a finishing touch on the eye, I'm gonna use the shade here, the metallic shade that I'm gonna apply with my finger. Look at how beautiful this is. And really just here on the mobile eyelid part, just like this. You don't want to add too much. I'm just pressing it onto my skin. I'm not dragging my finger or anything, like this. And I'm gonna add a fine line of brown liquid liner and some mascara. Mascara and liquid eyeliner are done. And the mascara, you guys, you won't believe this. I said that before, I'm gonna repeat myself, but I'm really trying to make a conscious effort of using the product that I have in the makeup studio. And I have so many small sizes of mascara. This one is from Sephora. It's called Size Up. It's a volume, extra large, immediate super size volume. And honestly, this mascara is brilliant. If you're looking for a volumizing mascara, a cheaper option, I don't know I don't know what's the retail price. I can't imagine it's super expensive. The shade is Ultra Black. It makes me think of, because it's quite creamy, it makes me think of a little bit the Ever Full XL of Dolce & Gabbana, or not quite Gucci creamy, but not far. Because if you look at the YSL Lash Clash, it's quite dry as a mascara. Same for the Over Volume at Dior. I think the Dior Show mascara is quite close to this, but this brush is that's where the volume comes from. Look at this brush. Anyway, just thought of sharing with you. Now I'm gonna, a little trick, what I like to do on my eye look, sometimes I just take my Chanel eye Stylo. So this is the shade Or Rose. It's very nice and classic pen. Look at this, and I add this in the waterline just to wake up a little bit the gaze. And it does make your makeup a little bit more bright. You could use any pen that you have that is quite light, but look at this. It's just adding a little something onto your makeup. And those eye pencil are waterproof, so they do stay in place and they last for the whole day. I'm gonna add a little bit of bronzer, and I'm gonna go and use my Dior bronzer. And why I am using this one, it's because it's a very soft and buttery bronzer. I like this because it's really just enhancing and it's looking really natural. If I were to be going for, let's say, Makeup by Mario, it's a bronzer that you look really bronzy. I absolutely love this. But I think on today's look, when you want something a little bit more elevated, a little bit more elegant, you want things that are quite soft and are kind of melting onto your skin. The idea is to create something that obviously people will know you're wearing makeup. It's not to pretend you're not wearing any makeup, but you don't want to have a makeup that is too much makeup. You want something that is just all blending into all the shades. So I've got a big fluffy brush that has already bronzer on it. It is the same bronzer, so it is fine. And I'm just gonna saturate my brush. And I'm literally just coming outer edge of the face, warming up the skin a little bit, but not too much. You really just want to add a little something. I could have used as well my Guerlain bronzer. They are really, really good. Just a little bit here. Just like this, not more. That's it. Now I'm gonna add my blush. I'm gonna go back with my Patrick Ta palette. She's Seductive. And with my brush, so I've used this end for the cream brush, I'm going to use the other end for the powder. I don't want to add too much, really, with kind of a flush of color. We want to add a little bit of highlighter, just a little bit, not too much. I'm going to use my Prada highlighter in shade Pink. I've got a fan brush to have a very diffuse. Don't want to have anything too harsh again, and try and stay away from highlighter that have huge glitter in them, because not the most elegant. I think there's a time and a place for a highlighter that has glitter, but on today's look, not so much. And I feel like there's a bit of a consensus, and a lot of you are completely against highlighter with big chunk of glitter. And speaking of glitters, I have seen pictures on Instagram of the new palette at Chanel. Why do they all look like they have super huge chunk of glitter? They're eyeshadow quads, but they all look very glittery, which I'm so surprised. They're 4 eyeshadow palette. They're still not available, assuming it's gonna come in August or September. I'm not sure about the glitters. So this is done. I'm going to do the lips and then finishing powder, and we're done. I'm gonna go with my lip liner. This is the Rouge Dior Contour, and I am using the shade Beige Tulle number 310. So these were part of the new nude shade launched last year. Can't remember when it was. I think it was last year. Feels like a long time ago. They are really, really good lip liner. They're quite long lasting. They're easy to apply. They really glide nicely. They feel a little bit waxy. They feel like the Westman Atelier ones. Super easy to work with. For the lipsticks, I'm gonna go as well with Dior. So this is shade 100 Nude Look, and it's a velvet finish, so it's not satin, it's not completely matte. It is a gorgeous shade. Very close to the blush in terms of shade. And I feel like this step is non-negotiable for a makeup that is elevated, and I think that's the secret to a makeup that looks like it's really tied up together. It's a finishing powder. No, I don't see a lot of people using finishing powder. I don't know why. I think it just blends everything together, and I absolutely love this one. This is the Ambient palette, the Incandescent Light, and this is the shade 1. And I literally just used the 3 shade in the palette with a big fluffy brush. I'm gonna come very gently forehead. I'm not gonna go over my nose. Just even here. So you're not disturbing any product, you're just gently coming over. Just like this, and you see it's all beautiful. It's all radiant without being overly radiant. It's like your skin, but better. There is no line, there's no, but you still see the contour. It's a little bit more sculpt. You have your bronzer. I think it's all really just coming nicely together. So that's the final look on today's video. I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial. I think I will be doing a little bit more tutorial going forward. Don't worry, I'm still going to be reviewing every single new pieces of makeup that is coming out. But I think it's nice sometimes just to make use of all the products we have. So this is a very soft, elegant makeup look. Obviously, maybe for some of you this is too much makeup. I think you could dim it down, maybe the eyes, but if you were to see me, you would probably say, oh, I really like her makeup. Would you? It is a very soft way to do your makeup, and I think here maybe don't forget I am in a studio with all the big lights onto me, so this is a view of the makeup in daylight. It's definitely a little bit more softer, but it's very elegant, it's very feminine, and it's an easy way to use the makeup. I'm sure you already have almost all of these products, if not something very similar. And I think the idea of elevating your look is really taking a little bit your time focusing. Complexion has a big part to play when we're looking at makeup look that are quite elegant, elevated. You want something that is a little bit more done up. You want take your time to blend everything together, and it's going to really change how you're doing your makeup and how your makeup looks. Also, setting spray and finishing powders, I think you're not gonna go wrong and invest in good product. The Iconic London setting spray is really good, is really budget friendly. Finishing powders, maybe a little bit more expensive, but they do last forever, and I think it's kind of a no-brainer if you want to have something that looks like this. Up to you. I'm gonna leave it up to this. A big thanks for watching, guys. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.